Here I'll show you 7 secrets why Magnus Carlsen is rated number 1 in the last 15 years. Not only mentioning them, but will provide you with examples of him using these secret weapons to be the very strong players. Number 1. Deep opening preparation. Against Nakamura in 2014, Carlsen played d4, and after d5, c4, c6, this is what's so called the Slav defense, and after knight f6, e3, now bishop f5, Nakamura choose. And in this position, knight c3, a6, and here we go. Here we have one of the biggest novelties for Magnus that shows his deep opening understanding, especially the structure. Magnus's idea is bishop d3, but if he played bishop d3 now, then there is a choice for Nakamura to go back bishop g6, and after bishop takes g6, h takes g6. The king side is super solid, e6, bishop d6 castling, and the game will be super long. But in order to stop this idea of bishop g6, Magnus had this idea, playing bishop e2. Now after bishop e2, I'm threatening knight h4. For example, if you go e6, now knight h4, I will win the bishop, which means I will be the one who has the bishop there. So let's go back. In order to stop this, now Nakamura played h6. So the point is, for example, you castled, now I go e6, you go knight h4, then I have bishop h7. But now, and only now, see, bishop e2, h6, and now and only now, Magnus has played bishop d3 in order to fast his development. After bishop d3, I wanted to exchange bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, and Magnus went on to win this game, but he forced this idea of bishop d3. Number 2, variety of openings. In 2018 against Caruana, he played 2 times e4, he played 2 times d4, he played 2 times c4 out of 6 games played by white or by Magnus by white. On the other hand, very top players like, for example, Bashir Lagrave, mainly he played Najdorf as black against e4, c5, and he played only Grunfeld, for example, d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5, and mainly with white, he played e4. But Magnus almost played everything, and that makes it very harder for his opponents to prepare and to use the technology against him. Preparing piece play above pawn structure. What does that mean? In this position, he's playing against 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐿, and now he has many options. He has option of queen c7, option of knight f5, option of knight g6. Probably one of the ideas here is also f6. The idea of f6, if you take, I take back with the pawn, and I have the massive center, d5, e5, the g file, etc. But here Magnus said, no, I don't care about pawn structure. I will go just simply d6. This idea actually destroy the pawn structure now. But Magnus again cares too much about piece activity, not about pawn structure. So after d6, the game doesn't play for so long. In 20 moves, 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐿 lost the game. Actually, not in 20 moves. The total game is 23rd move, 23 moves. After e takes d6, knight g6, and now knight fd2. Just to grab the pawn. The bishop is super active now. Knight c4 attacking the bishop. No, I will not give you the bishop. Knight c3, bishop a6, queen f3, bishop takes c4, giving this pawn up. Queen takes c6, king f8. But after d takes c4, taking this pawn again. Now the g2 pawn under a huge pressure. After castling, the knight went back. Knight d4 is coming. Knight e2 trying to stop that. Kicking the queen first, and after queen to a4 attacking the a7 pawn, rook c7 defending, and open the file or the rank for queen a8. Later on, bishop f4 attacking the rook is protecting, and after c3, g5 attacking the bishop, rook d1 trying to exchange, attacking the rook now, rook takes, simply queen a8, and after bishop c7, now and only now, h4 trying to improve the rook here on the corner. After f3, h3, and now after g takes h3, queen takes f3, and then 20, actually before, 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐿 just here resigned the game. Why? Because I'm threatening to take. If you take back, knight h4, queen takes f3 afterwards, and the game just got lost and 𝐒𝐚𝐫𝐿 resigned. Number 4, great defensive techniques and based on counter-attack. In 2016, he is playing Sergei Karyakin, rated 27.67, and now Sergei played queen b2. This is the last move by him. Attacking on e5 once, twice, thrice, and I am only protecting 2 times. Now in this position there is knight d7 to protect, maybe ideas like bishop d6, maybe c takes b4 trying to do something, but here Magnus chose something else. He played c4. But this seems to be a wrong move. Why? Because now I'll go bishop a4, I will attack the rook, and the pawn is attacked 3 times. So you either save the rook or you save the pawn, which is probably the rook. But this is Magnus's idea. Rook e6, and after knight takes e5, now the counter attack just started. Bishop b7. Bishop b7, I am attacking the e4 pawn. 𝐒𝐫𝐿 went back to defend, and now rook a to e8. Rook takes e5 threatened, and after rook a to e8, f4, trying to stop that. Bishop d6. Why bishop d6? The idea is next. After king h2, the idea is knight h5, attacking the protector of the knight. g3, now go away, and after knight g6, now black to play. Very super strong move. Knight takes f4. Brilliant move. The point is, you cannot take. If you take knight takes f4, for example, bishop takes f4, g takes f4, queen takes f4, and after king h1, simply queen g3, and rook e4 to be coming. After rook e4, rook e4, rook e4, bishop e4, there's bishop e4, and it's gonna be mate against this king. So after knight takes f4, 𝐒𝐫𝐿 preferred to get rid of this guy here, the bishop on d6, but simply knight takes g6, and after rook takes e6, rook takes e6, now the pawn is back, and this king is super weak, and this bishop is super passive. And now after rook takes e6, bishop d4, in order to activate again, Magnus cared or cares too much about his pieces, just f5. In order to improve the bishop, making use of the fact that you cannot take, the rook will be taken. e5, and again, another brilliant move by Magnus. Knight takes e5. Why knight takes e5? Because after bishop takes e5, I have this idea. Queen c6, attacking here, threatening checkmate. Rook g1, and now and only now, queen d5. If the bishop moved, then rook e2 will be deadly. So after that, bishop takes f5 played. Queen, rook takes e5, the bishop is under fire, bishop g4, h5, attacking the bishop again, bishop d1, c3. The pawn cannot be taken because of queen a2 check. So after c3, queen f2. And now the idea played is rook f5, attacking the queen, queen e3, queen f7, threatening rook f2 again, g4, rook e5, attacking the queen, and after queen d4, queen c7 is played by Magnus, and 𝐒𝐫𝐿 just resigned the game. Why? Because this actually pin, or this actually discovery, you cannot move away. If you go, for example, rook to g3, just h4 will be winning for Magnus. Number 5, he is super brave. Why is that? In this position, he's playing Nakamura in 2011, and g5 won the e5 pawn. g5 I'll attack first, g4 I'll attack second, and then we'll take the e5 pawn. Okay. Didn't Nakamura saw this? Of course he saw that. But it seems very dangerous, it seems very risky. The king will be super weak. Is it the only move for Magnus to do that? No. He does have rook c8, he does have h6, he does have a5, the top 3 suggested moves by the engine. But Magnus said, I am brave enough, I'll go g5, I will win this pawn, I'll defend a bit, but then I'll win the game. And that's actually what happened. Bishop e3, g4, knight d4, knight takes e5. Nakamura tried to complicate the matters and to attack instead, with rook e8. a4, trying to open up the position, bishop c5, improving the queen, improving the bishop, knight b3 attacking the bishop, rook c8, adding more pieces to the game, knight c5, rook c5, queen a4 attacking, but simply bishop to c6. Now, if queen is7, then rook a5 probably, your queen will be lost. So after queen d4, knight is under fire, queen f6 just defending. Make sure that, or watch out for knight f3 ideas, and then you might lose the queen, so the rook has to keep that queen protected. So after bishop f4, d takes e4, now the knight is protected again, bishop takes e4, now knight f3, went to the endgame, bishop f3, queen d4, rook d4, bishop takes f3. Yes, it's opposite colored bishops, but light squares are super weak, and rooks are still on the board. So rook d7 played, rook d5, take, bishop e3, rook e4, threatening d4, rook e1 played d4, bishop d2, takes, bishop e2, and the king cannot improve. Yes, it's only pawn up, but the king cannot escape. tried to sacrifice another pawn in order to improve the king, but after g takes f3, bishop f2 attacking the pawn, I will not give it to you. Bishop e1, king g7, improve the king, improve the king, improve the king, and now h5. After bishop d2, king f1, bishop f1 attacking the pawn's taken, the other pawn is taken, bishop f1, king e3, and after some moves like bishop c6, b5, a6, f5, bishop to d5, now came the critical move, black to play and win. Try to find it. Simply f4 in order to create another passer. If bishop takes f4, then h4. If g takes, then h4. So g takes f4 played, simply h4, trying f5 in order to stop the h pawn actually, but king f5, after king f3 or king e3, king g4, trying to improve the king, h3, now this bishop is stuck on this diagonal, stopping h2, so bishop e4, if that bishop is taken, then f2 to be coming, king f2, bishop e1 attacking, bishop a2 attacking, bishop f7, bishop b3, some maneuvers, and now simply go with the king to the queen side and win the game, because the bishop and the king cannot stop the two passers or cannot leave the two passers alone. So after bishop g3, resigned the game, Nakamura, and Magnus has won. Number 6. He's the greatest endgame player probably ever. In this position, he's playing Caruana in 2012. And last move for Caruana was queen d3, attacking on e4 and on c3. Magnus played king g2 and said, I cannot wait Caruana taking my e4 pawn and entering this ending in which I am going to torture him forever. After bishop d4, Caruana exchanged queens and played b6. After that, rook a b1. Look how smooth and how every single piece here for white just make a huge or make the maximum of its power. So after rook e4, for example, I wanted to improve the king. g4 first, fixing the h6 pawn. After king f8, h4, wanted to go h5 at the proper time. Rook takes e4, king takes e4, rook e8 check, king d3. Why king d3? Doesn't want to allow rook e2. So after rook e8, king d3, rook e6, bishop e3 attacking, king g7, the rook is improved, rook b5, bishop d8, h5, protecting the pawn. It was under fire of the bishop. Rook check, rook d6, king c4, improving the king, another check, attacking the rook. No, that you cannot take. Bishop d4 is there. So after rook e6, bishop d4 is coming. See, the king improved, the rook improved, the bishop improved, the pawn structure improved, but it's not enough. f4, every single piece has to work. After f4, bishop c7, f5, attacking the rook, rook d6 check, king e4, rook c6, rook b1. Now it's also about flexibility. You don't have just one single idea and you need, or you have to prove it right. No, I am flexible. I'll try this, I'll try that, I'll play here, I'll play there. I will make you dizzy trying to defend against my ideas. Rook king e8, and now h6 g6, f takes g6, rook h1. Attacking the pawn, trick from Caruana, because if you take, then g takes with check and you will lose the rook. So after king d5, attacking the rook first, another check, and now g takes f5, trying to protect, but after pawn takes, bishop d8, trying to defend, f6 just the decisive blow. After f6, bishop takes f6, but this ending actually is just lost after rook h6, because my king is super near, and the two pawns will be taken, and I'll be winning very soon. Bishop takes, bishop d4, c5, c6, a6, improve everything, improve the king now, and bishop d8 and c7, and Caruana in this position just resigned the game. Number 7 and the last one, winning equal drawish kind of endings. And this game was the 6th game in the World Championship versus Anand in 2013. Magnus was black, and the position seems to be very drawish. Why? Because, I mean, white has only one single problem, which is the double pawns here. But, I mean, it's not a problem because you cannot make use of that. But see how the game moved on. I mean, what's interesting about this idea is that many players doesn't have the ability to keep the game going. They just, okay, I cannot win this. For example, whoever, like Giri, Caruana, Lagraf, Nakamura, whoever. No, okay, let's make some moves and then offer a draw and call it a day and come tomorrow and play a new game. But this game, I cannot play it for win. But Magnus played. Queen e7, rook f1, c5, improving the pawn structure. King h2, c4, y c4. He tried to put more pressure, so maybe an hand will take, and after that, these two pawns will be even weaker. So after c4, d4 and then played, hoping that Magnus will take, and then repair the pawn structure. Rook takes a1, rook takes a1, and now if e takes d4, e takes d4, queen e4, for example, e d4, e d4, queen e4, queen e4, rook e4, there's always this check, and after that some sort of rook b8, and the b5 pawn will be taken, so the pawn will be back. That's why Magnus played queen b7. The idea is I wanted to take, and then rook takes e4, not queen takes e4. Rook d1, so whenever you take, I'll take back with the rook. At least my rook will be active. And now queen c6. Slowly, slow moves, improve the position, slowly. Queen f5, and now and only now, queen e takes d4. After e takes d4, if e takes d4, then the pawn will be taken. That's why rook d4 is played. Rook a5, attacking the queen went back. Queen c7, and after king h1, queen e7, keeping the pressure on the e4 pawn. Still Central, it's very slight advantage for black. It's minus 0.2. It's very small. But Magnus continued to play. King queen f4, g6, king g7, improve the structure, rook e6, queen g3. And after queen g3, rook takes e4 happened. After rook takes e4, Anand said, okay, fine, I'll go for this endings, and it should be a draw again. 3 against 2 and 2 against 2 should be a draw. My rook's super active. Magnus played rook to b7. Rook d6 played. You cannot improve the king. It's fine. I'll improve the pawn structure first. King f7. G takes h5. See, not g5, because I wanted to improve the king using the g6. Again, he does care about pieces more than pawn structure. Pawn structure doesn't matter for him. Gh5, rook d5, attacking the pawn. The pawn is just protected. King g3, rook b6, improving. It's slowly improving the rook. f5, improving the pawn structure, threatening or hoping for king g5, and then stop that, but now he sacked the pawn in order to improve the king. Check, and king g5. Rook b8, the position, you cannot imagine, the position is still zeros. The first 3 options for white is just zeros, or for black is just zeros. You cannot win this, but just improve it, just try. Rook g8, check, still zeros. King h5, rook f8, attacking the pawn. Rook f4, still zeros. Rook c8, rook g4, rook f8 again, check. King g5, check. King f4, rook c8, attacking the pawn. Okay, now you can take the pawn. Now, it reaches a point where Anand has to play the only move. And this is actually one of the characteristics of Magnus. Okay, we play a normal position, but we keep playing. It is a draw, but we reach a point where you have to find the only move to draw. And here we start. Rook takes c4 is the only move. And now f4. And again, only move to draw the game. Only move to draw the game is b4. Only move. But guess what? Anand doesn't or didn't find that idea. He played rook a4. And he is just losing. Now, why is that? One of the reasons Anand doesn't similar, or he's not familiar with such type of fighting along his career. If it's a drawn ending, no one will play it, but Magnus is doing that. So after rook a4, h3, g takes h3, rook g6, went back with the rook, and this passer is super fast. c4, f3, king e2, f2, king f3, and king f4, and just rook g1. And now Anand just resigned the game, because f1 is a threat. F check, I'll go away. F1 is a threat. Another check, I'll go away. Another check, probably I don't want to take the pawn. Just king c3. A way of checks, and I will win the game after queening. Be a rook up, and these 2 pawns will be taken, and Magnus will be winning. This is actually why Magnus is beating everybody. What's interesting about these 7 points is that it's very hard to gain. It's very hard to be brave. Either you're brave or not. It's actually, you might argue that it's a trainable, but it's very tough. It's not like, for example, some openings theory or something. No. For example, this kind of fight in the endings. How can you learn that? From whom you will learn that? No one have ever done this. Playing a very drawish ending and slowly, reach a point where you have to find only moves to keep the position drawn, which the strongest player back then, probably one of the strongest players back then in Ant, was not able to do so. I hope you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and see you in another one. Bye bye.